Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's live session where we talk about what is necessary for you to know when you go to give the exam, or even before the exam. That is all you need to know: the basics of how you should go for the exam, how you should register, what the test centers are like, and how you basically will give the exam. So welcome once again, and I hope that you do find today's live session informative. Now, before we start, I would like to give my own self-introduction. My name is Fabliha Bushra Khan Ruponti, and I go by Ruponti, and I'm a PTE trainer instructor at the PEC-Education Training Academy. Now, a brief introduction of the PTE exam. I'm sure those who are joining here today live, they know what PTE is about and what it is. Our basic criteria, the reason that we are doing these live sessions is to increase the awareness of PTE exam. So if I had to say in one word, PTE exam is just another standardized English test like IELTS or TOEFL that you will have to give if you want to go abroad. So PTE is just another type. It is a completely computerized test and you can give it in one sitting, and it has some other perks like fast results and flexible dates, etc. So we'll go to that later. Now, who are we? PEC-Education was the first academy to introduce PTE education in PTE, the exam in Bangladesh, and we have been going on since 2016, and we have highly qualified trainers, and due to the reason that we have been teaching this, we have been helping students pass the exam for quite a while. We are experienced, and we aim to spread the word for PTE and this exam all over Bangladesh. And to do this, we started our Facebook profile, our Facebook page, and we upload daily videos, weekly videos. We regularly upload videos of this kind once in a while. And if you like these kind of content, if you want to know more, then you can just subscribe to our page or just give a like. So that will be helpful. So now we can just come to what we are here for today, that is PTE registration. Now, first things first, if you want to study PTE, then, or if you want to give the exam, then what you need to do is register first. Now, registration, you can do it by going and creating an online profile in the Pearson website. Now, that's a little bit of complicated process. You also need to pay the fees online, and what we do in PEC is we help our students go through the complicated registration process free of charge. Now, one thing is important, friends. If you want to register for PTE, you need to have a passport, because that will be your basic main ID. So your national ID will not do. You need to have a passport, and when you're registering for the exam, you will need to give your birthday and the name that is on your passport. That's a very, very important thing. Okay, so that's the main thing. And you can schedule your exam 2 days in advance. So you don't need to plan it that early. If you just want to take the exam after 2 days, you can just apply for it, register for it. So that's another positive to it, and you can do this free of charge. But in case of emergencies, if you just want to give the exam the next day, that's also possible. You can register for the exam 24 hours in advance, but you'll need to pay an extra fee. So that's another thing. Now, after we go through the registration, where are the test centers? In Bangladesh, we have 2 test centers, one in Uttara and one in Dhanmondi. So it's only in Dhaka. That's the problem. But if you are in Dhaka, then you're in luck. So we have 2 test centers, and The tests are given almost every day, so 7 days a week you can give your exam, and there are 2 time slots. That is, one is in the morning 9:30 a.m. and another is the afternoon slot, that's at 1 p.m. So you need to arrive there 1 hour to half an hour early. That is a suggestion, okay, and that's what they suggest. Now of course they have 1 day off, that is in Uttara they take Saturdays off, and Dhanmondi takes their Fridays off. So in those cases, in those particular days, you will have to register your exam to the other side, okay. So but it's available 7 days a week, you don't need to worry. Now due to COVID, they have started some more safety regulations that you will have to follow. A bag is not allowed inside the test center, and you need to bring additional gloves, and you will have to take a mask when you go there. Additional gloves is for once you go in. Before entering the center, they will ask you to change your gloves, so that's why you need to take an additional gloves, friend. Okay, so now on the exam day, as I told you guys before, you need to arrive there at least half an hour early for sure, but it's better to go there 1 hour earlier, okay. So before being admitted to the test room, you will be given they will take your photo, and they will give you a biometric scan, and they will check your passport and your ID before you're admitted to the test room. Now the test room will have lots of computers side by side, and they will have a divider, of course, for a little bit of privacy, but it's not soundproof. That is, if you are taking your exam with someone else, then you will hear them, so that's a difficulty. And so before you go to the test date, it's better to practice taking mock tests in a room with some distractions, so that you will not be distracted during the exam. So you will have an administrator, a test administrator, to help you start your test. You will have your own computer along with your own microphone, and in the beginning they will tell you to test your sound and your microphone. So this is a very important thing. It will help you to know how loudly you have to speak and how much comfortably you can hear. So you need to get comfortable in wherever you're sitting, and that's one of the main tips that I would give you during the exam, because no matter how well you prepare, if you're not comfortable where you are, then yes, because this is a test where you have to speak in front of the computer, you need to be your best, okay. So your test examiner, the administrator, will help you with everything, and yes, you need to take your passport with you on the test date. That's the one thing you need to take. And you will have a locker for your smaller things like watches, which are not allowed in the test center, phones, everything. There is a small locker, but bags are not allowed inside, so you will have to take those things in. And in the test center, they will give you your own erasable notepad, and you will have your passport with you, and of course you will comfortably sit there. So once the exam starts, now you have your microphone and you're comfortable with it, you know how much you have to speak. So the first question that you will have to handle is the personal introduction. So there is a 30 to 40 minute time that you will have to speak about yourself. This is kind of an icebreaker kind of thing, where you just speak and be comfortable to speak about yourself. So that's why it's the first question that you will have to handle, and it's not marked. So again, it's more cool down so that you can get used to speaking in front of the computer. After that, we have the speaking section. The speaking section is mostly around 30 to 40 minutes, and here they have 5 question types. So overall, if you guys didn't know, they have 20 question types for PTE, including the personal introduction. So for speaking section, there are 5 question types, that is read aloud, there will be 6 to 7 read aloud, then repeat sentences, around 10 repeat sentences. Then there will be describe image, around 6 to 7 describe images, short answers, and a retell lecture. So these are the 5 types of questions that you will have to take in the speaking section. and they will be your first things that you will have to handle. So once speaking is done, you won't have to speak again, and then we will come to the writing section. Now in speaking section, if you know about PTE, is that just because there's a speaking section doesn't mean they won't have questions on listening or writing, right? And or even reading. So next we have the writing section. Now for PTE, the speaking and writing section is basically considered as one single part. So for writing section, you will just have two types of questions. One is summarize written text. Summarize written text, there will be around 2 to 3 questions that you will have to do. That is, you have to read around 30 words passage and summarize it in one line. And then comes the thing that's common in every standardized test, that is your essay writing. So the essay writing will only be for 20 minutes, and you can have 2 essays, but normally you will only have 1 essay. So after your essay is finished, the writing section takes around 1 hour. After it's finished is the reading section. The reading section can take from anywhere to half an hour to 45 minutes depending on the number of questions. Okay, so that will be your next, and these questions just come one after the other. So you will have to practice sitting there for around 2.5 hours and do the test simultaneously one after the other without a break. Okay, so you will need to do that. So now reading section also has around 5 question types. So you will have 2 fill in the blanks types in the reading section. One is reading writing fill in the blanks, which is a more grammar based, and another is reading fill in the blanks, which is vocabulary based. Then there are 2 types of multiple choice questions, which is you will have to choose multiple answers, or you might have to choose a single answer. So you need to read the question well to distinguish between the both. And then that's let's see, that's 4 types. And then finally you will have a reorder paragraph. Now this is interesting, where you will be given certain sentences and you have to order them to make a paragraph, and you will have around 2 to 3 of these types of questions in the reading. So based on whether you have 3 or 4, the time of the reading section can go from half an hour to 45 minutes. Now once that is done, you will have a 10-minute break. So my suggestion is, please take the break. Yes, it's very important. As you know, after speaking, which is kind of a very hectic and nerve-wracking type of questionnaire that you will have to speak in front of the computer, you are just forced to then write an essay, which will take a lot of your concentration, and then you will have to read for the reading section. So you will be tired and your mind will stop working just like anybody else. So take the 10 minutes breaks. Normally I would say take around 5 minutes, go walk outside for 5 minutes, and then come into the test center again and just sit down and again get comfortable in your seat. Okay, so 5 minutes to get comfortable, you can just wait until the question is on. So don't spend too much time outside, because then you will just come back in a hurry, and then your first listening type questions will you won't be able to concentrate well. So you need to do all that. Now the listening section is has 7 to 8 types of questions. So it is the most complicated type of section, I would say, and it's the final one, and after that you're done with. Now for listening, your listening concentration, phrase listening is important. That is why I said to take the break. Now for the listening section, you will have summarize spoken text. That's the first thing that they will ask you to do. So you will hear summary a lecture and you will have to write it down. So this is a long type questions, kind of like a cool down after you've begun. So you will have 10 minutes for each type of question, so you can comfortably write your summary. You don't need to hurry through it. Okay, so use all your time for these types of questions, and then you will go to the multiple choice type questions, where you will hear something and have to answer these types of questions. Fill in the blanks, where you will hear and you will have to fill in the missing portions of what you hear, and then there will be highlight correct summary or select missing word. That's kind of like where you hear hear a passage and you will have to, what do you say, predict what they can say in the last coming sentence. So you will have to predict what the conclusion. So that requires a special type of listening skill. So that is an interesting type of question in the listening section, I would say. Then you have the highlight incorrect word, and the final question that many people find confusing is the write from dictation. That is one very important section, contains a lot of marks, and it's your final question. And there will be around 3 to 4 types of questions. Now all the listening type questions that I just mentioned before will have around 2 to 3 types, 2 to 3 questions each type, and finally your write from dictation will have minimum 3, maximum 4. So after this you're done. Write from dictation is kind of like in the beginning where the repeat sentence, when you have to listen and write. Here you have to listen and write, and in the speaking section you will have to listen and speak. So that is all I will say about the question types, because this was just a very basic format of what you will face when you go and sit for the exam. Okay, so it is hectic. The fact that it's 3 hours can be a boon and a curse, because it is 3 hours. You will need to learn how to keep your concentration for that time, and it's just one time. So if you have a bad day, that means your exam will go bad. So you need to use those 3 hours well. So you can always register for another test. So and since you get your results almost in Bangladesh, you get it within 24 hours, which is a good thing. So you can check your results, and if you do not have the sufficient grades, you can always just register for exam for 2 days later easily. So the thing about getting a perfect grade can be done much faster for PTE than, for example, other standardized tests like IELTS or TOEFL. So that is another perk that I would say that PTE has. Now that's all I would like to say about what you are going to face when you go for the exam. Now I would also recommend that, because it's COVID-19 nowadays, there are many other additional things that you will have to worry about. So before going to the test date, you should go and check all the new rules that they will have during this time in particular, so that you can go and you know what you're going to face then. So just before the test date, read on all the rules that you will need to follow there. And okay, finally after all this, now we just come to the PEC-Education. As I said, PEC-Education was the first to introduce PTE in Bangladesh, and right now we have different types of courses. We have long course in batch, or you can have individual courses, and we have online courses which will help you with your typing and just speaking in front of a computer, and the e-learning part that is so important in the PTE exam. So you can also take a batch course. Oh, and another very important good news that we have is that our centers right now we're located at Mirpur, but just in this December, the first week of December, we're planning to start our new center in Uttara. We had a center in Uttara before, but due to COVID-19 it was closed for over a year. So we're planning to restart it, and we are going to start a batch in Uttara for anyone interested or has their homes close to that place. So we will keep you informed. So if you are interested, you can always just like this page, subscribe, and we will keep you informed. And so stay tuned. And finally, that's all I would like to say for today, and we are planning to have other informative live sessions like that. So if you are interested, please follow us, and thank you. I would really hope that I can see you next time. Thank you so much.